What's up, everybody? Good morning. How are you this fine Tuesday morning? Hope you guys are great. I got my coffee. How about yours? Because nobody can drink coffee like you, right? What's up, everybody? Glad you guys are having a great morning on this awesome Tuesday morning. How are you? Victoria Charlene, Facebook Live. Also, Nimshi here. Nimshi, you from France or what? Awesome. How's everybody doing today? Great to see you. I'm Branon Dempsey of Worship Team Training, and you have joined the Worship Team Training Show. Good to have you all the way from France. How are you, Nimshi? How are you? Great people coming in. Go ahead and bring everybody in. Buenos dias, everybody. Oscar, how are you? ¿Cómo estás, señor? Great to see you, mi pana. Hope you guys are great. Stanley, what's up? How are you? Fantastic people coming in on both Facebook Live and also here on Periscope. So thanks so much for joining us. Hope you guys are having a great Tuesday. I know we are. And this is a great time. Yeah, there's no other time than this. Go ahead and swipe and invite is what we call it on Periscope. Slide over on Apple or up and down on Droid. If you're watching us by Facebook Live, thanks for that. Hit the share button and share this out with all your friends over Facebook and Twitter. Let everybody know what's up. It's so good to have you this morning. Man, we got some things to talk about. If you are in a worship team or if you're an audio engineer, we got some great things to cover today on our topic. So how are you? Hope you guys are great. Here's what we're going to do. Basically, who am I? My name is Branon Dempsey, and I am the founder and CEO of WorshipTeamTraining.com. And we do exactly what we say. We go to you, churches, worship leaders, and work with you one-to-one. And that would be going to your church, providing a hands-on workshop, hands-on training, that is, on a 1-day or 2-day event. And there's nothing like learning in your own environment, right? Working with your own team. Well, that's what we do. Also, we do one-to-one mentoring. So if you're a worship leader, musician, singer, pastor, audio tech, and maybe you need that extra help and nudge and encouragement in your step, that's what we offer here at worshipteamtraining.com. So check everything out there. Thanks so much for joining us. And when do we air these broadcasts like the one that you're watching right now? Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And also, who are these broadcasts for? Well, again, worship leaders, team members, musicians, singers, audio tech, and pastors. Also, those of you who just enjoy worship. Did you know we have a lot of people that have nothing to do with being on a worship team, but they broadcast in with us each day because they enjoy the community and they like the content. So we say thank you for that, because this is why we do what we do. We're here to bring it to you. Content that matters and talking about the real deals and real issues. So if you would, please let us know right now. If you're new to this broadcast and this is your first time, even if you just stumbled on us just now, would you please type in all caps, new, and the city or country of where you're from. So we always know who we're broadcasting out to and who we're in conversation with. And of course, if you are family here at Worship Team Training, even by watching one replay, please let us know and type in FAM as an F-A-M, family, and let us know what's up. So glad. So thanks so much. Victoria, thanks so much for your comment there on Facebook Live. Glad you enjoyed the live devotions, if you will. So thanks so much for that. And also, Periscope. If you like what you hear today, then tap on the worship leader glasses or the worship leader hair. Facebook, you can send a heart through the worship leader hair right there. Longview, Washington, Monette from Facebook Live joining us. Great to see you. A lot of people coming in. Thanks so much for doing that. Go ahead and come on in. Share this out with your friends. Worship Leader Hair is really liking that today. Worship Leader Hair having a good day. Not in conflict with Worship Leader Sideburn. He's trying to work things out with Worship Leader Glasses right here. And he's trying to be balanced in the way that he moves around the stage. So we don't want to give him too much power because that's just ridiculous. But anyway, so great. Glad you guys are here. Let's get on with it, shall we? We have a lot to talk about. This is today's topic, You probably can't see that very well. I'm sorry. Why do I show these bright images like that? Well, because sometimes we just do, and we want to make sure that if anything's visible. Oh, this is why. Okay, because you can catch today's article of everything I'm speaking on at worshipteamtraining.com. This is the graphic, and the topic is no sound. No sound? Or could it be no as an N-O sound? I don't know. But there's the graphic for today's article, worshipteamtraining.com. You can follow along with us as we have actually brought in 3 different contributors to help us with today's broadcast and also posting. I find it's important when you guys give us topics, we also respond back out to you and asking other questions. We pull in other worship leaders or audio tech for this broadcast today, and we ask your take, like, hey, this is the topic that we're going to be doing. What is your thought on it? If you have any of those kind of thoughts and you want to send it in and you'd like to see a topic or a question that would address some of the things that you're going through or ideas that you have, hit us up. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us at WorshipTT right there. And tweet us in or message us. You can also comment here. If you're watching on the replay, by the way, thank you so much for coming in. If you're watching us by YouTube, we have all the broadcasts going out and replays going out. So thank you guys for joining us. So again, you can also comment there or just hit us up on Twitter. So thanks so much for that. Sean Sunsfold is one of our contributors today for this topic. So Sean, thank you very much. He's watching us by Periscope, and I really appreciate all the comments that you had to say working into this topic. And also, Joe Way is another contributor out from Irvine, California. Big shout out to you, Joe. Miss you. You're awesome. Awesome dude. Ran the sound for Compass Church in Orange County. Very large community, and just an awesome man of God. He's studying to be a pastor, so shout out to you, my man, Joe. And also our very own Kent Morris, who is an instructor here at Worship Team Training. Kent's done audio and tech teaching for eons. But when you look at him, you wouldn't know it because he looks fresh and alive and young, as he is. So big shout out to you, Kent. Love you. And also he does audio installations as well and teaching for your staff. So if you'd like to have that come to your church, all you need to do is go to worshipteamtraining.com/workshops, and Kent will send him to your church. Or if you want to do an audio session, a music session with your team, Kent and I tag team and do that as well. So hit us up and let us know. We'd love to be part of your journey and what you're going through as a church. And so, coming up on Snapchat, we have more stories for you. A lot of you guys have been following us, and thank you so much for that. A lot of friends. Look, this is a great app. Some people are a little intimidated by it because they don't know how Snapchat works. But if you just spend a little time with it, it's easy. I mean, I love it because it's kind of like the bridge between video clips and stills, and yet instant messaging at the same time. And you can also create what's called Snap Stories. And what that is just out of the whole day of the collection of photos and video clips that you've produced, they form it into a timeline story that you watch. Well, we take part in that, and we create our own Snapchat stories throughout the whole day. So we're talking today about no sound. So we have some clips about that and other quality content that we don't share on these broadcasts. So all you need to do is go to your favorite app store, whatever that is, and download Snapchat and add us, Worship TT, and get all the good stuff there. We have more good stuff coming. My gosh, I can't even get to it all. I can't even understand it. Laura Marriott, let me just say, fantastic woman of God, leader of worship. Just a great, gentle heart, and knows her skill in vocal studies, but also teaching it well. Because here's what I found. You may find this too. There's a lot of great vocalists out there. There's a lot of great musicians out there. But having one that can actually teach well and communicate in a way that helps you understand, that by far is the mark of a true teacher. Laura is that. We have many other great staff at worshipteamtraining.com as well that do the same thing. But Laura has a great unique gift. She's going to share that with us on April the 26th at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. And best of all, it's free. So you got to check it out now because, look, it's free. It's at 1 p.m. And if you sign up, let me just do this too. If you sign up on the registration link, and what is that link? It's right here, worshipteamtraining.com/events. If you sign up, we'll also give you the playback live for free. Does that make sense? No. We'll give you the live playback for free. Okay. So go ahead and we also put other goodies in there as well. So who knows what else we'll give away free. We have some other stuff that's coming down the pike, and I want to bring that to you as well. I didn't put it up here on the screen, but 2 new fantastic things coming. Oh, man. Tomorrow, it's just going to blow your head off. It's going to shatter. I can't wait. Dan Spitz of Anthrax, the former band member and leader and co-founder of Anthrax, the old 80s metal hair band. Dan Spitz is going to be here on tomorrow's Hangout. He is going to be on our show, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. He's going to share his testimony and how God saved him from darkness and brought him into the light. Dan is doing some amazing things. He and I met back over last fall, and it was kind of by accident. He called me because both of us are artists through Line 6 guitar company, and we got to talking, and I had no idea who he was until he said, yeah, I'm Dan Spitz of Anthrax. I'm going, well, what? I'm like, no, I mean, because I know a lot of other musicians that are in secular, but I've never spoken with anybody from Anthrax, and so I'm like pulled into the conversation, and I wanted to find out more about him. So we spent nearly 3 hours on the phone like the next week, and he just gave me his whole story of how Christ met him in the middle of his most darkest hour when he was in the pit. And I'm telling you something, I was brought to tears just by listening to it because it resonates with me. And I love where he's at and what he's doing today. An incredible, multi-talented man, loves his family, loves his children. He supports autism. That's another thing we're going to be talking about tomorrow, as well as, because both of his sons, we'll get into that too, both of his sons are autistic. So he's got a huge outreach and ministry for autism, but also sharing the gospel at his concerts. So you can't miss it. It's going to be fantastic. Tony Guerrero, Rich Kirkpatrick's going to be with us, and hopefully Stephanie Kelly and the crew. But for sure, Daniel Spitz is here tomorrow, so you can't miss that. Also, what's coming up, and I'm sorry I'm taking time. Yeah, I'm trying to remember everything in my brain. That's kind of hard for a worship leader right now. Sorry. It is what it is. So, John Chisholm, who's watching right now. John, what's up? We have John's webinar coming to you. And what is that webinar? Another webinar? It's on songwriting. A lot of you guys, worship leaders, songwriters that are out there, are looking for, is it that magical moment? Is it that magic bullet? Well, John's going to help break that down and kind of debunk a lot of the theories of what's not and share with you of what really is. So you can't miss that. We're going to have the promos and links coming up of where you can sign up for that. The webinar, I think, if I'm right, I think it's the 21st or 22nd. But like I said, we're going to get announcements out huge. So don't worry. You can follow us on Twitter, and also the live broadcast that you're watching right now. We're going to let you know when that is, so don't worry, okay? But John is one of our board members, as well as he is the founder and leader of Nashville Christian Songwriters. So go check them out. Awesome dude, great teaching. All right, so talking about teaching, we're going to get to the workshops and talk about that in a little while. For now, we're going to be talking about no sound. Do you have sound? Do you have sound issues? Can we just go there? I mean, I want to hear from you. So now, right now, look, don't be shy, okay? Go ahead and your sound engineer may be watching. Who cares? We got a lot of guys coming in right now that are actually sound engineers. And Ron, the sound guy, is watching us from Periscope. So I want to have a healthy dialogue today of what you go through as a worship team. But I mainly want to hear from the audio side. I want to hear, and I don't mean to say it that way, but the reason why I say audio side is because typically in church ministry, we think of the audio team as a detachment from worship, which is totally not true. Totally not true. We're one ministry. And so Ron, the sound guy, is on Periscope right now. He's typing in. Thanks, Ron. And we want to hear from you. So if you have a question, thought, idea, or maybe a theory that you want to debunk yourself, then please use the comment window to do that. Type in and let us know what's up. And you can do that right now. Well, first I got to ask you the question. What are you going through in your church regarding sound? Are you at odds with the people within your team? If you're audio engineer or tech, do you have issues with your worship team? Or vice versa? Thanks, Sean, for One Ministry. Thank you for that. He said that. And also, I want to hear, what are your largest challenge? What's your biggest challenge right now with the audio in your church, with you guys functioning together as a team? What issues are you facing? Go. Talk amongst yourselves. Start typing in. Anytime. We're all waiting. So as you do that, I want to go ahead and just share some of the things that we talked about. All right, so Ron the Sound Guy says, I like to call sound engineers the gatekeepers. So then tell us, Ron, why would you say that? Why are you a gatekeeper? I mean, do you answer phones? Are you at a desk? Keeping people from the president? Is that it? Or are you keeping people from good sound? Wow, this is what he said. We enter into his gates with thanksgiving. Wow. So when you say gatekeeper, you're not talking about like Ghostbusters and all that? All right. So question, how do you handle when we have volunteers doing the audio and they may not know how to set up the sound correctly? Okay. So let's hear about that. Look, what's your question? Ron, how do you handle volunteers doing the audio that may not know how to set up the sound correctly? Ron, I love that. Okay, come on, Ron, tell us. Ron also says, if the gates are poor of sound, who wants to come in? I love that. Fantastic. Thank you, Ron. All right, so Charlene had a question on Facebook Live. Okay, so we need more time and more training. That's it. Ron, I'm asking you again. This is the third time now, Ron. Make sure you're listening through your monitor, okay? I'm only going to say this one more time, bro. Okay, the question is, how do you help volunteers who don't know how to set up the sound correctly? Sean says, look at it from the very special position. Look at it from the worship standpoint. Okay, good. What else do we have? Monette, thank you, Monette, from Facebook Live says, the sound creates that against them, the worship team atmosphere. Yeah, that can happen. We want to break down those divisions. That's true. Okay, so Leanne writes in, the need for real sound techs, not posers. Frustrating, yes. Okay, Ron the Sound Guy says, Ron the Sound Guy, that's our guy. He says, let them work alongside you. Okay, to mentor them. All right. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Oscar, for your comments. Take time to teach them, work along side by side. Here's one thing that I just throw in here, and because Ron the Sound Guy, by the way, he is Ron the Sound Guy. There is no other sound guy than Ron. That's it. That's your one-stop shop, Ron. Okay, but Ron brings up a very valid point. Use people to work alongside them. Take your volunteers. Yeah, it's not an art. It's not a science. It's an art. No, I'm sorry. It's an art, not a science. I like that. Simply this. Find the strongest, like your audio engineer, your lead guy, and yes, encourage them, build them up, give them feedback to help. If you're a worship leader, give them positive construction, help them. Okay, so Sherlene says there's no division. It's just that they want to help the volunteers help them do the very best that they can. Absolutely. Here's one thing I recommend, and I think Sean and Ron, kind of rhymes, right? Sean's audio tech, and so is Ron. Sean, by the way, went through our mentoring program and studied with Kent Morris, and he did our first semester. So if you are interested in having lessons and mentoring by an experienced award-winning mixing engineer and teacher, Kent Morris. Find us at worshipteamtraining.com/. All right, we're back on. Sorry about that, everybody. We had a little glitch. All right, so let's get to it now. Monette says our sound crew wants to set levels and walk away during rehearsals. Ooh, not good, not good. However, we have different people leading different songs. How can I explain to them they are very much needed as part of the team? I'm asking you, Ron. This goes out to you. How can she explain to them that they are very much needed as part of the team throughout the whole ministry? I would say this, as Ron is answering, you have to speak to them as a leader and let them know how important it is. This conversation I had with another worship leader, I think it was today's Tuesday, right? So yesterday, Monday. And I was encouraging her. Okay, Ron says sound starts with the monitor mix first, front of house last. Absolutely. Very good with that. Okay, so here's what I recommend. Number one, you have to speak it as a leader. Your volunteers are just not going to read your mind. And I've said this before, that good teaching is not alone by demonstration, but also by communication. You have to set the standard for your team and let them know how appreciative you are and what they do, how important they are as a team in every way. Okay, so Ron, hang on real quick because I got some more questions for you. Thank you for that. Ron's already firing away, man. He's ready to go. So explain to them that they're important. And what I was going to say from the very beginning, too, is find your strongest audio engineer. Take a Saturday. Take 2 hours to just go over. And thanks, Sean. He's validating, high-fiving to let, encourage your tech teams. Absolutely. You have to take time aside to bring up your volunteers. And even if, let's say, you, like in your church, both Monette and Charlene, if you have people that maybe are not as experienced and maybe you want to seek it out, look, all you have to do is go within your city and find out the largest church or second largest church in your area and ask one of their audio tech persons just to come down and give you a free 2-hour tutorial on mixing or setting monitors correctly. Or maybe you need to have your room tested and have white and pink noise, that's what they call it, white and pink noise tested in the room so they can reset the EQs. There's a lot of different things you can have them do. But take them out for lunch. Have lunch catered to the church, pay them $100 for their time or $200, whatever you can afford. And buy them lunch, have a 2-hour session there with your team. I'm telling you, the better and the most that you can invest into your audio team, it's only going to better the musicians and singers and as a whole, the church for worship. Your audio team members are just as important as your worship team members, period, hands down. We cannot do without our audiovisual support. Because then, just like Scripture would say, if the eye says to the hand, I have no need of you, we would be worthless as a team. That's how I look at it. And also, be sure to thank your A1s. That's what we call our audio lead ones, our audio lead people. Be sure to thank them every time you see them. Just even if you're having a bad day, even if maybe, you didn't think everything clicked well for you, but maybe you saw your sound guy giving it their all, thank them. Go to them and just say, hey, thanks so much for helping us deliver great sound today. Or, hey, thanks for that monitor check. Or, hey, thanks for checking those cables. You know what? Because your sound technicians, they probably work harder than any other musician on stage. Why? Because typically, and this is what they should do if they're not doing it. They show up early, they unroll cables, they check cables to make sure that none of them are damaged. They're checking the ends of the XLRs to making sure they're clean. They check the board. They check every channel. They check the lighting. They go through a whole system check list of everything that needs to be functioning properly. Why do they do that? Because they really do care about you. They really do care about the team. It's not about, yeah, he doesn't like me because he turned me down on the monitor. Look, get over it. Stop complaining about your sound guy. Period. Just get to know them and work with them. Look, ministry is not about you. You being up on stage, it's about a teamship with your audio and tech people. The same thing. The same thing. Rami, thanks so much. He's joining us from Facebook Live all the way from the Middle East. Wow, from Jordan. Thank you for that, Rami. Great to have you today. And Leanne says to being open to continual learning. Yes, just to be teachable. That's huge. That's huge. And I think that the more and more that we say to ourselves as musicians and singers, hey, maybe my sound engineer knows more than me, then you're in a great position right there, okay? Here's what Sean says on Periscope. If you complain about your sound guy, you won't have a sound guy. Well said, Sean. Absolutely. The same thing with their media and lyric projection and your lighting guys, and also people that are doing video editing, and also your camera personnel. You cannot leave them out. I mean, these people make it happen. I mean, God uses them. Look, I have worked with many camera operators who worship during the time of service when they're looking through the lens and they're looking at maybe they're viewing the pastor or the worship leader or the team. They're worshiping. How do they worship? Well, it's easy, because as they're doing their job, they're also praying at the same time and saying something like, Lord, may the broadcast of this camera bring you glory. May it touch people's hearts as they're watching it right now. I mean, how often you, as an audio lead, are you behind the board as you're pressing up that fader? Are you saying, Lord, give this guitar player grace today? You know, help this singer sing on pitch. No, I'm kidding. But, I mean, are you praying for your team like, Lord, use this music right now to be invisible to the church so that the church is ministered to, you are ministered to, that you're lifted high? I mean, when you're checking audio cables, are you praying for your team? Worship team, are you praying for your audio engineer? Are you praying for them to, not just to fix the sound if it's going haywire, but I mean, are you regularly praying for them like you would another musician or singer? If you haven't, you need to start, because this is where the teamship happens. So let's move on, because I got some other things that Sean put out here. That's funny, Oscar. Oscar says, then play the right chord too. Pray for that. Yeah, absolutely. So here we go. So the question is, how well do you know your sound engineer? That's the biggest one. Ron, the sound guy, says this too. The best AV guys and gals are not noticed. We want to be behind the scenes. Absolutely. Ron, I loved it when Kent said to me years ago, he said, Branon, the best job that any audio tech can do is be invisible, that they're not noticed. And he said this too, because I've done a lot of live and studio sound training, so I have a heart for sound engineers and tech. I do a lot of that stuff myself, and it's very hard. It's not just flipping on the sound switch back there and, like you do a radio. There's way so much more to it. I mean, because when things go wrong, these guys are sweating back there, and they're, having to have like a backup plan, a plan A, B, and C. And if C plan fails, you do something else to make it right and you fix it. You don't let things just go unaddressed or array. I mean, your job as sound audio tech is to fix the problem, period, and do it in such a way that nobody notices, because this is what happens. When people can walk away from a worship service and they don't hear any inconsistencies, feedback, if they don't see anything visually that's distracting on the screen, and they don't say anything, then you've done your job. If they don't say anything, you have done your job, because you're giving them peace within that service for them not to focus on all the other distractions that could be. And yeah, it's very frustrating Sean was saying this too, like when we have like our audio techs working hard, and maybe there is a mistake that happens, maybe something does go awry. Well, then what does the congregation do? They turn around and look at the sound guy. Ouch, that hurts. So if you are a worship leader and a worship team member, do not do this. Do not ever can I say it again? Ever, I said it another time, point out your audio engineer or lyric projection person or whoever from the stage. Do not ever point them out and say something's wrong. Ever. Because it makes them look like they don't know what they're doing. And the fact is, they probably saw the problem long before you did. And they're probably at work trying to fix it. The same thing, if you're a pastor, I want to say this too. Please do not talk about how bad the sound is during your sermon. Please. When you're preaching, don't say things like, hey, Tom, there's a ring in my microphone. Don't say that. Just act like it doesn't happen. And like, if you need to, then either readjust the little mic if it's right. If you're wearing an earpiece, maybe move it to the side for a little bit, or look at the sound guy and just do this. Point at him and just do this kind of nonchalantly. They'll get you because good sound techs watch. They should know what's going on. But never point out. If you're a worship leader, please do not say during the service, hey, sorry, we had some technical difficulties this morning. Don't do that. Don't blame. Please, yeah. If anything, credit them. Right, Sean? If anything, you ought to say something like, hey, like if it's maybe at the beginning of the worship service, or maybe if it's at the end. When's the last time that you've done that? And you said, we've done that. And you said, hey, real quick, everybody as a church, can we just say a big thank you, a praise for our sound techs and audio engineers, because they do a lot of hard work behind the scenes and we praise God for them. It's that simple. Our pastor did that before his sermon this past Sunday, and it was like, yeah, it's awesome. So yeah, when the church realizes that it's not a production with a set list and a rock star setting, then they're going to know. Ron's kind of typing this in right now, so I'm trying to follow him. We all have God's presence, is what he's saying. We don't want to disrupt it by making it a productional nightmare. So let me go on with some of the points, because I'm getting into a lot of things here from you, questions and stuff. That's awesome. I want to say this too. Monette typed in the question. Well, not really a question. Yeah, she did ask a question. She just said, our sound crew, they set the levels and then walk away during rehearsals. But then she says, however, what did she say? However, how do we help train them in the right way, right? So, yeah, if you are, and Ashley, I'm going to get to you in a second. David Brown, what's up? My old friend from SCWI, our worship studies in California. Dave, what's up, man? We need to talk. I love him. So this is what the broadcasts are about. They're about community. So love you guys coming in. Thanks. All right, so let me get back to the question of Monette, Sean, and Ron, our sound guys on Periscope that are watching. Again, by the way, we're dual broadcasting right now on both Periscope and also Facebook Live. And again, if you're just tuning in now, I'm Branon Dempsey of worshipteamtraining.com. We're talking about sound issues. Do you know sound? Okay, the relationship between worship team, audio team. We are one. Okay, so let's go on with that. Monette asked a question: how do we help encourage our sound engineers to know that their role is better and important? Instead of what they do is they set the sound levels right during rehearsal and then they walk away. Like what? This is like a what is it? Set it and forget it? I don't think so. I've never seen that on QVC. So why is that important? Because when a microphone goes feedbacking, if a wire goes bad, if a mic goes down, if a channel becomes corrupted, you're not there to fix it. The worst thing you can do is walk away. No. They need to be in another ministry or retrained. If you are running sound at a rehearsal, especially during the service, your eyes need to be, you need to be like a hawk on that stage, whoever is speaking or playing, and your hands need to be like an octopus. I mean, you're ready to go on the fader, on the mute as well if something were to happen. If you have a singer that maybe just goes down, like the mic, well, not a singer go down, sorry, I didn't mean that. Well, maybe not a bad idea. But like, let's say their microphone goes down and they're not thinking about it and they point it right at the monitor. If the sound tech is watching, he can mute that channel before it ever feeds back. Okay? The same thing like when the worship leader's done and they set their microphone back into the stand or something like that, sound guys can catch it. So if you're a worship leader, make sure that you're also communicating with your sound engineer or your tech person. Your monitor mix person, if you have a monitor mix person on the stage, make sure you're also communicating with them. And one thing I'll say this as well. Leon's chatting in right now on Periscope that we don't want disruptions in the service. Absolutely. Also, Ron says park your phone somewhere else. There should not be a reason to be on your phone or tablet. Sorry about that, Ron. I'll put this away. Sorry. So just make sure that yes, you are paying attention. You're not on your phones if you're behind the board. Same thing if you're leading worship during rehearsal, working with your team, whatever. Unless it's an app, right? So watch your app. That's all I got to say. I'm just going to say it once. Here's another issue as well. I said do not address your sound teams and tech publicly. Well, here's another problem, and Ron, I think you can speak into that. The same thing, Sean here. Please do this. Don't have 5 people at once tell your sound engineer what to do, okay? Or the media person, or whoever's running it. Please do not have 5 singers say, hey, that word is wrong, or hey, can you go to the next? No, don't do that. The same thing with the band. If bass, guitar, drummer is always just saying, hey, John, can you please turn it up? Don't do that. Have one person communicate for the whole team. It works so much better that way because the sound engineer, they're trying to identify one problem at a time. And how do they do that? They are isolating channels as they go. And they're trying to isolate problems. But if they're hearing 5 different directions at once, I mean, they're just going to throw their hands up in the air and just be done with it. So make sure that finally this can happen right. And you can just have one person do it. That's what I do within our team. And I communicate this to the worship team all the time. Hey, I'll ask the drummer, bass player, guitar player, hey, is your level good? Do you need something more out of your monitoring system? Is there something that you're not hearing? Do you have a drop level? Tell me now. And then I'll communicate with Michael, who is our A1, say, hey, Mike, drummer needs more of such and such. Microphone went down on singer red microphone. Can you please bring that up? Battery's going down. Hey, can you please put that up? Always communication, but just through one person. It also helps cut down any kind of bickering or arguing or talking over each other. Look, the sound guys back there, sound women, they're just trying to do their job. So the better that you can help them, the better they're going to give you sound, all right? Yeah, and also Sean says, what you hear in your monitor is not the same thing as the mains. Absolutely. Oh, man, yes. Thank you, Ron. He says, last-minute video PowerPoint clip request. Please stop it. Please do not go to your if you're a pastor or a worship leader, please do not show up on Sunday and say, hey, can we add this one more song, this one more video, this one more clip, where it's going to take, or maybe you don't know, but the tech person knows it's going to take hours to fix. Okay? Now, our tech people, we have a list of backup things already prepared. So if I say, hey, Tom, can we flip out this one song, and we already have it on a backup standby, that's different. We already got it planned ahead of time. But if it's something that nobody knows and you give them a clip at the last minute, please do not do that. You don't realize how you're wrecking their job. Do it in a rehearsal, right? Do not do it prior to service, because they already have their own checklist going through. And that's kind of like you going to the restaurant and the chef is cooking the meal already, and he's like 75% done with your meal, and all of a sudden you holler at the waiter, oh, hey, can you change that to chicken instead of turkey? I mean, it's just going to disrupt everything. So please make sure that you give people ample time, and not like an hour ahead kind of thing, but just help them be prepared, okay? Now, they can do it. Yeah, absolutely, Ron. I mean, sound tech people, they can do anything you want. But you just got to give them time. It's just not instant, because they have other things going on to help you. I want to do a shout out to, let's see. Thank you very much. Ashley Arendis. Did I pronounce that correctly? She's watching from Cape Town in South Africa. Thank you for joining us. We have a lot of friends from Cape Town. And she said, how do we approach the fact where equipment used is not suitable or appropriate for the application? How do you know you're getting the right equipment? okay, and knowledgeable of the sound team. Simply, again, I would always default on having somebody that's more specialized in the sound technician area to come to your church and just assess maybe the things that you have. Ron's funny. So I would have somebody come in and help assess your equipment and find out if it's, and pray for a donor. Piano Mom says, that's really funny. So always default to people who know more than you. That's why they're there. So I would use them as major resources. So let's do this. I want to talk about some points to go through because we have a lot that we haven't even gotten into yet as far as things from the article, what the article is saying. But you guys are hilarious because already we're getting a lot of comments here on Periscope and also here on Facebook Live. And so these are real questions. Look, you guys bring us the topics. So thank you guys for doing this because it's all about having the right content and speaking the message. So you guys bring it to us. Thanks so much for that. All right, so let's do this. I want to talk about the 5 priorities of the audio tech teams in worship. All right, ready? No sound part 2. Yeah, we need to have a part 2 on this. Yeah, watch your voltage settings. Use step up or down transformers. That's for you audio guys. Another thing too, make sure that, for overseas, okay. So Ashley, Ron is saying to you, make sure that you watch the voltage, the up and down transformers. Again, if that you don't know what that is, then I would check with somebody else who's, again, more experienced, get their feedback, and check out what they say. Do this too. If you are a sound engineer, worship leader, make sure that your batteries are checked and ready to go prior to rehearsal and even prior before service and or between services. We have our sound guys run up after every service. They check the mic themselves to make sure that it's all the way to the top, fully charged battery. If not, then if it's if it's going if it's at the halfway mark, we change it right away. We don't even question it because that halfway mark, it can be like another minute. If the microphone's on a fritz, it can maybe mean another 30 minutes, but you don't want to take a chance. Nothing less than Duracell ProCell. Yeah, Duracell's come up with a lot of, I think they've really advanced a long way in what they're doing in their technologies. So that's a good word, Ron. Thanks for that. So definitely check your batteries if you're wireless guitar, do the same thing. Check the batteries beforehand, make sure that they're working and they're full. If not, change them out. I've had this happen before too. We have backup microphones. So if we have we're using wireless, and if there is a backup hardwire, we'll mute it and we'll leave it on a stand somewhere. So just in case if a wireless goes down for some unknown reason, all I got to do is just quickly grab a hardwired mic and it's no big deal. Okay, so that's just having a good backup plan. The same thing with wireless guitars. We do the same thing. We have our hardwires out while we're using wirelesses. So in case if that happens as well, just mute your channel as a guitar player. Switch it out real quick. Leave your battery pack on. Don't take it off. Just leave it on. Just unplug it. Plug in the hardwire. You're fine. Same thing. So all right. So here's the 5 priorities of a good audio worship team. And these are the what not to do's. Okay, so now I'm speaking to worship audio engineers and techs. Number 1, don't be late. Don't be late to load in for sound check. And this is for work. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to back up. This isn't addressing for a band. This is what Sean had said. So this is for you as a band working with your worship audio tech team. Okay. These are the 5 what not to do's if you are a band or singer working with audio tech, okay? I'm sure I corrected that entry there, right? Here we go. Number 1, if you're a band singer, don't be late for sound check. Do not be late. Be on time, be early. In fact, as a guitar player or drummer, keyboard player, you need to be the first one there, right, probably when the sound person shows up or maybe just shortly after, so that way you can ask them. I always ask, hey, which line do you have me going through today? Because maybe they changed the channel. And that's the worst thing is like when you set up all your equipment and the sound guy comes and goes, yeah, that channel is dead today. We're going to be using this one. And you've already set up, so that means they have to recheck the channel and everything else. Always ask before you sit down, hey, which line do you have me going through? Where should I plug in? That's just a standard question. Number 2, make sure all equipment is ready to go and sound checked. So just don't start playing. Check with your sound engineer and just say, hey, first, hey, do you have a good level from me? How are the levels back at the board? Am I coming through? And I always ask this question too, like after we do the sound check. And by the way, Ron brought this up too. When you're doing a sound check, check the monitors. There's different theories about how they do this, but what we've done in the past that seems to work well is when we're doing a sound check for the whole room, we check the front of house first and then the monitors last. So that way the sound engineer can get what he wants and then just take it off and work with the monitors for the band. It seems to work better that way. But anyway, this right here too, this is another good important rule here. Don't change the levels on the amp. When you have it set, that's one of the biggest frustrations for audio techs is when you have the level set or you have your mic level set, don't change it. Do not put your fingers on it and turn up the dial. Look, I know as guitar players, we like to hear more of the amp if you're using an amp on stage. Amps need to run a little hotter for the tubes and for the sound of the speaker to sound better. But if you're turning it up constantly, then you're at war with the sound engineer because he's having you at a certain level, and once you boost your level on stage, it boosts the whole channel, and then that forces them to remix the entire board, or they'll just simply mute you out. So the choice is yours. But be kind. Don't step on the volume thing. Leave it. If you got a problem, communicate with your worship leader and let them know, hey, can you please ask behind the board if they can either turn up or turn down? That's what I need. Do it that way instead. Here's another one. This is number 3. Don't go back and try to run sound for the engineer. Don't. It's their territory. I've had this. One of our guests on our Hangouts said the same thing, that he's done live sound for a long time, and he would have a guitar player that would run down from the stage and try to say, hey, have you checked the board? Maybe this channel's doing this. Maybe you could reset the EQ this way for my guitar because I feel like this is coming through. And then the sound, he would just look at the guitar player and go, thank you. And that would be it. So, no, Craig says too, definitely no. Do not run back there and try to play sound guy. Let them do it. That's their job. If you got a problem with your sound, speak to them offline. And I would go at it very positive and encouraging. Don't go in there, telling them how bad they are. I mean, there's no need to do that, okay? Here's something else too. Number 4. Yeah, and this goes on number 4. Don't be rude or frustrated when asking for a change in the monitor settings. If your engineer tells you to please turn it down, please do everybody a favor and just do what they say. Just listen. They know what's best because you cannot hear from the perspective of where they are in the room. So trust them. Again, if you got a problem with it, take them to the side later on and talk about it. But don't do it publicly. Just trust them. And if you really can't hear when they make that change, then say to them, hey, I know you want to make that change, but I honestly cannot hear, or I can't get this certain sound. Can you help me with it? That goes way better, okay? Also, last one. Do not forget to clean up after yourself. Don't leave cups and trash on stage. Watch the cables in your microphones. Don't get them all jumbled up. If they are, help the sound guy out. Maybe ask the sound guy to help you learn how to roll cables. That would make their day, because then they'll probably just give you about 10 of them and say, hey, can you do them all? About 80% of all sound engineers are probably laughing right now. They would love that. So these are just some of the tips of what you can go through. I'm going to go through real quick some other points before we end the broadcast. If you have questions, we're about at the end. I think we need to do a part 2. Would you like that if we did a part 2 on this thing? Yeah, don't Sean says, don't be a diva, help out. Absolutely. So if you have any last minute questions, let us know. We're about to end the broadcast in just a minute. So last few things here. Okay, so we got to do a part 2. You guys like this? Is that the feedback we're getting? Yes, Ron the Sound Guy says, trust us, we really can hear what it sounds like. Don't ask your girlfriend, boyfriend how it sounds. I love it. Yes. Love it. Okay, we got to do a part 2. So let's do this. Just a few last things here. Yes, this is great. And thank you guys for commenting because you make everything happen. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Monique. Thank you, Charlene. And thank you, Ashley. All you guys that are just coming in right now on the broadcast and letting us know what you're experiencing. Because like I said before, you never know how you may be helping more people. And they're probably going, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Or, wow, I'm glad I'm not alone. Because I should never walk away from the mixing board like that again. Okay? You like handcuff them to it. Or put an electrical invisible fence behind them or something. So, just a few things I want to cover before we end it. Let's see. Yes, thanks, Phil Harvest. Appreciate that. He says thank you for a great job addressing the issues. Thank you. There's a lot more. I mean, you guys make this happen, so thank you very much for this. This will be on video. Yes, on YouTube, Ryan. This will be on YouTube, and also as you're watching on Facebook Live, it's always here. It's the cool thing. Okay. Oyo Base says singers are usually ministering after the service, usually to the same group. Yeah. So we got to be together as a team, right? Thank you, Sean. Big thanks to Sean. Let everybody thank Sean and also Ron the Sound Guy for them bringing the topics. Kent Morris, Joe Way. Big shout out to you guys and all of our awesome, fantastic, and humble audio lead engineers and tech engineers, audio, visual, and camera, lighting people, media, camera, everything. You guys are fantastic. So thank you very much for all the things that you guys have brought into us. So just to wrap up, just make sure that you have quality relationships with your audio team and your worship team. Again, you're one worship unit. It's not this, hand and the foot kind of thing. I've addressed this before on Snapchat. And as I was talking about that on Snapchat today, you can find more about that by adding us Worship TT. You'll get more content there. And also our workshops. So if you're interested in having Kent Morris, myself, or anyone else on our staff come to your church, this is what we do. Just go to worshipteamtraining.com/workshops and find out more about what we can do to help you in your service area of your church and what we can do to help along the way what your team does and to make worship better and pleasant for everybody. That's really what it's about, as one team. So be sure to join us back for the replays. Also follow us on Snapchat and check out Laura Marriott next week, Tuesday, 1 p.m. Central Time, April 26th. Go to worshipteamtraining.com/events. Love you guys. Thank you so much for coming in today. Ron, Sean, love you guys. And we will be doing part 2 maybe next Tuesday. We'll just do part 2 about this. So, Sean, can you please help Kelly remember and do that? Glenn, oh my gosh, look at this. One of the most fantastic studio recording engineers I've worked with, Glenn Wheeler, sound engineer extraordinaire over here in Houston, over at his studios. And Glenn, are you still with the same studio? Glenn's a fantastic guy. I need to have you on, actually, talking about some sound issues, because this is very good. I encourage you guys to watch the replay. We are going to do part 2 next week. And this has been a great conversation. So thank you guys so much. Love y'all, and we'll be coming back soon. Tomorrow, again, we air every Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And tomorrow, Wednesday, we'll be hitting you back. Let's do it, Glenn. Glenn said, love to do that. Awesome. Let's do it. I high five you, man. Thanks so much. Liking it. And tomorrow is our devotional on Wednesday. And then Dan Spitz from Anthrax is going to be on our video podcast tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And I'll bring it to you right here. In fact, what we'll do is, if I can, I'll bring both Facebook Live and Periscope into the same broadcast on YouTube that we will all do tomorrow. So we're going to be doing like a triple broadcast. Today we're doing dual broadcast. Tomorrow, triple. It's getting crazy. I think we just need to go to 1 feed now. This is nuts. Anyway, love you guys. Thanks so much for coming out today. And I'll see you guys back very soon on the next Worship Team Training Morning Show. Have a great day. Bye.